Hey guys, Jeffrey from Headstrong Training Systems here. So today we're going to be talking about wrist straps, and we're going to be going over two of the most common mistakes that I see people make when using wrist straps. So to get right into it, first of all, the most common mistake I see is that simply they're wearing the wrist strap too low on their wrist or on their hand. So the goal of wrist straps, or the purpose of wrist straps, is to offer support and protection for your wrists. So this is where your wrist joint is. You see the wrist, what it can do flexion and it can do extension. That's the movement that we see most of during our bench press and during our squats, is that the wrist wants to do extension. And so when that load of the barbell is excessive and placed on the wrist, it's going to force into extension and can cause pain for you. Now, the point of the wrist strap is so that it's there to offer protection and support for that wrist joint by offering stiffness, by essentially adding a layer of padding so the wrist becomes so tight that you can't move it. So the problem is, if your wrist strap is put on very low, like so, it's put on below the actual wrist joint, at that point, your wrist strap is just an accessory. It's there for an aesthetic appeal, because you see there's still a large abundance of wrist movement, wrist flexion, wrist extension at my wrist joint. My wrap isn't actually doing anything to support my wrist strap. It's too low down. So that's one of the first mistakes I see. Now, you see the difference that when I put my wrap higher up, what I like to do is I'll put my wrap, the top of my wrap, starting at halfway between the bottom of my thumb and my wrist. So about there. I'll start the top of my wrap from there. You'll see that now that my wrap is higher up, it's actually covering up my wrist and the bottom of my hand. And you see the amount of flexion and extension I get is minimal. This is me trying to flex and extend as much as I can. You'll see there's a big difference between how much movement there is now compared to when the wrap was hanging too loose. It's also important to note that in some federations there are different rules and regulations in powerlifting with how high the wrap can be. I believe in some federations the wrap can't be touching your thumb, that's too high. So it's very important that you check your federation and the rule books to see how high that wrist strap can be. But the key message to take away is make sure that your wrist strap isn't too low and it's actually offering support to your wrists. Now, the second problem I see with people using wrist straps in gyms is that they have their wraps on there for way too long. Now, when you put your wrist strap on, it should be tight and it should be secure. And so it shouldn't be overly tight, but it should be tight enough to the point where after, say, a minute, you shouldn't be able to have it on anymore, because it would have cut off blood flow to your hand. For your palm, it will start to look clammy, it will start to look white, there won't be any blood flow there. That's because of how tight the wrist strap is, and it should be that tight to offer you the necessary support and stability needed at the wrist. So I see a lot of people that had the wrist strap on and they're just walking around the gym for like half an hour to 40 minutes, and at that point, it's just an accessory. There's no way that the wrist strap is offering you any support at all if it's that loose on your wrist. So to summarize what we've gone over today in this quick video, first problem with wrist straps, worn way too low, had them higher, had them actually supporting your wrist joint. And second common problem I see is that they're way too loose. If you've got wrist straps on, you shouldn't be able to perform or even function with them on for maybe a minute or two. If you can just leave them on for more than that time, that's a very big and clear sign that they're not offering you any support, because they're not tight, they're not stable. So that's all from me today, guys. Hope that's helpful for you, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.